In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. and IT&E.
Afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of In Full Zoom. I'm Nestor Licanto, and our guests this week are from the Guam Visitors Bureau, in particular, the Korean market officials. We have Jay Park. Jay is the GVB Korea Country Manager. We have Colleen Cabetto, who is the Marketing Manager for GVB for Korea. And also Margaret Sablon of she's GVB's Korea Marketing Coordinator. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Nestor.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's start with a big announcement out of the Korean government. Jay, I understand that they made a new policy regarding arrival quarantine upon arrival. Can you explain what they did?
Oh, yeah. Actually, there was great news that, as you just mentioned, the Korean government has announced to lift 7 days quarantine for fully vaccinated people arriving in Korea from overseas. And it's going to be starting from March 21st, gradually. So if you are fully vaccinated in Korea, the effective date is starting from March 21st. And if you are fully vaccinated in overseas, including Guam, the effective date is starting from 1st of April. So, and then you will have to register your vaccination record through Q-code system. Q-code is the system established by Korean CDC. We call them KDCA. And it is like, the purpose of this system is to reduce the time for the quarantine inspection upon your arrival in Korea. And you will be required to input your information like passport information, emails, your airline ticket information, PCR negative result, etc. So I'm going to share with you that website link later about the Q code so that you can see, check out the website. And also one more information for your reference that definition of fully vaccination means the vaccine should be approved by WHO, and it should be between 14 days to 180 days from your second shot. Or if you already got a booster shot, you are fully vaccinated. But some other thing is that the PCR test is still required upon your for entering to Korea. So this is the one of big hurdle still we have, but thankfully, Guam government has announced that we are providing some free PCR tests. So this is it, the basic guideline for the new quarantine protocol in Korea.
All right. And Colleen, can you explain why that's good news for Korean arrivals to Guam?
Yeah, so that means that makes it more convenient for our Korean travelers to get to Guam, because they can bypass quarantine. So it's a good sign that things are, going back to normal. When they get here, they can enjoy, Guam and all the things that we have to offer. And then when they return home, they can bypass quarantine and, just like travel as normal. So it's a good sign. And I'm also happy that we get to go to Korea too. I know a lot of our local people are excited about it too. I've been texts from my friends that are looking forward to going to Korea shortly, because Korea has been locked for about going on 2-3 years already. And so we're all excited to go to Korea, eat good food, and go shopping at our K-Beauty, and yeah, just live a normal life already.
Yeah. It's an impediment when you get back to Korea. You spend 7 days in quarantine or whatever it was, right? Margaret?
I'm sorry, Nestor, you were breaking up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was just explaining a little bit further about what Colleen was saying, is that, as a tourist coming to Guam and spending 3 or 4 days, and then when you get back to Korea, you got to spend, another week or so, whatever it was, in quarantine. So now that that's been lifted, that makes it a lot more attractive to come to Guam, right?
Right, and we're so happy though too that, of course, with the news, but even when the 7-day quarantine was still in place, we still had student groups coming over who were long-term stay, and they were willing to endure the quarantine because they were here for a longer period of time. But now all of those tourists who are just here for 4 or 5 days, quick R&R, it's perfect for them to make this trip to Guam and then return home to Korea and not have to endure 7 days of home quarantine. So we're very thankful.
Absolutely. And so, Jay, what does this mean for the overall Korean arrivals?
You mean when do?
What do you think the impact's going to be? You think there's going to be a sudden increase in arrivals from Korea?
Honestly, even though we, our quarantine protocol is lifted, the market is not going to very dramatically increase from April 1st right away, because we have quite limited airline supply so far. And airlines should get approval by Korean government. And it takes about at least 1 month. So, but all the airlines are considering Guam is the top priority destination. And they are planning to increase and expand our direct flight from Korea to Guam. So we are in now the much better situation now compared to previous couple of years. And we have the quite optimistic, predictable upcoming period. So I would say our market is going to be gradually increased starting from May. It's going to be, turning point for us now.
In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises Inc. and IT&E. GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information. In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises Inc. and IT&E.
Just to add on that, Nestor, our team, now that Korea has announced that April 1st, they're allowing overseas travelers, GVB, we're going to be going out there first week of April to meet with our airline partners and our travel trade partners to ensure that we try to get additional seats, and also try to meet with the ministry to vie for additional seat capacity. So it makes it more convenient for the visitors to book their flight to Guam.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how quickly do you think the airlines can pivot? I know that Guam is serviced by multiple airlines, and maybe Jay, you can tell us who those are. I know it's Jeju and Korean Airlines, but how quickly are they able to pivot and allocate more equipment to the Guam route?
For example, like Korean Air, we have the 2 weekly flights for now, but they are already request to the Korean government to increase the 4 times flight starting from end of April, for example. So all the airlines like Korean Air, Jeju Air, Jinhae, T-Way, Air Seoul, and even Air Busan, we have 6 flights we have, and they are requesting to Korean government to increase their number of flights, even resuming their flight from Korea to Guam. And another good signal for us now is Jinhae Busan area is departing from Busan to Guam. We have direct flight. They got approval by Korean government, and they have the 2 weekly flights from April 16th. So all the airlines are very excited and very interested to increase their direct flight from Korea to Guam. So this is very good signal. But the timing is going to be starting from April, it's not going to be very dramatically increased from April 1st, but we can expect more gradually market demand increase starting from May. This is what I'm feeling.
Okay, and Colleen or Margaret, do you have anything to add to that?
I guess, with that, in response to that, of course, we're hoping for seat capacity and the other airlines to return quickly. But on our side too, we're prepared with our free PCR testing. And so that's another incentive that we can offer them. So once they are able to fly again and the airlines get their approval, that we on our end can also help incentivize their travel to Guam to help defray some of the costs.
Mm-hmm. And just to add to Margaret's comment, we can also use that as a marketing tool because PCR is required for re-entry into Korea. So the PCR test, is an additional cost that 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 they don't have to it's a cost that they don't have to incur to ensure that they get back home. So we're going to try to add that to the incentive package, and then also look for additional ways we can incentivize more travel to Guam.
Okay. I wanted to talk a little bit more about the demographics of the Korean tourists. Are there, what is the percentage of tour group passengers versus FIT, the free and independent travelers? Jay?
Before, it's like back into 2019, just about more than 70%, 70% was FIT market. Because, in Korea market, instead of a wholesale market, our booking channel and meta search engine, global online travel agency, those type of booking platform has been emerging and increased and, developed quite a lot. So FIT market has been increased compared to the previous, decades. So I would say that about 70% of FIT market, another 30%, including, MICE group, we had, wholesale group, the package group demands.
Would FITs be a lot easier to, mobilize to come here as opposed to tour groups, which would take a little bit more time? They have to do their marketing and package everything.
Exactly. Also, at the same time, the airlines and then travel agencies, even our local hotel partners, their top priority for their business is to increase the business portion of direct booking instead of other, booking platform. It has more, better profit levels. So their efforts is meeting the Korean market, their consumer behavior changing. So the FIT market has been gearing up.
Okay. And Colleen and Margaret, what is the profile of the average Korean tourist? Is there a certain age bracket? Are they family? Are they single? Are they, office workers? Give us a rundown of that.
Well, lately, because of the pandemic, and we've been seeing more of the younger couples, maybe between the 20s to 40s, coming to Guam. There are some families here actually, but they've been the children have been starting to get vaccinated in Korea as early as I think 5 now. Right now, I think our target is definitely the FIT 20 to 40-year-old singles and couples, and then also honeymooners. And later on, we'll see more families. There are some families right now. And then later on, we also have leisure market too.
In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises Inc. and IT&E. GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information. In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises Inc. and IT&E.
All right, and you got what's the percentage? I think Jay mentioned the MICE. How is that market developing?
Sorry, can I mention that?
Sure.
Yeah, also, as mentioned that the MICE group, but honestly, we have almost every MICE group is the incentive group from Korea. Honestly, we don't have the meetings or exhibitions, etc. But we are developing that market with our own MICE group support program. So if they have a certain size of a group, GVB provides some benefit for that group. So yeah, this is our policy to support that market demand. And as just Colleen mentioned, that family market is definitely our top priority market segmentation. That we had more than 60% of the Guam visitors was family market before the pandemic. But now, as Colleen just mentioned, that school season has just started. Their vaccination rate is relatively low than other generations. So our top priority market is FIT market. Right after quarantine is lifted, and the family market we are targeting for this summer season, starting from July and August. So this is our basic and the overall strategy to approach our target market.
Yeah, I did mention MICE, and I should get you guys to explain what MICE is.
Meetings, incentive, conventions, and exhibitions.
Yeah, they might think we were talking about rodents or something, so I just wanted to get that in there. Okay, you guys are all marketers, right? So let's talk a little bit about the market. Well, let's talk a lot about the marketing. Let me start with you guys over at the GVB office. Tell us about the marketing efforts currently and going forward for the Korean visitor in particular.
Oh, can I mention that?
Well,
whoever wants to go ahead. Go ahead, Jay.
We're excited because we do have some influencers coming out end of the month. We do have a photo shooting group made up of 3 that are going to come out here to do some content for our social media and some upcoming campaigns. And then we also have another influencer coming out with AB Road, which is a travel magazine. So we're doing heavy pushes on social media and then also media advertorials. In addition to that, we're going to be doing out of home advertisements with billboards, get our face, get the Guam brand out there more and let them know that we are open, just as open as you guys are. And we're going to work with our airline partners. We're going to be going out there for our strategic missions to meet with the Korean government and to meet with all of our airline partners and our travel agent or partners to let them know that we have these free PCR testing that we are committed to support and to bring, and take care of the Korean traveler. Right. Yeah, and then in addition to that, we also have additional incentives for the MICE and then also for the education for student travel to Guam. So we're hitting them in different areas. And so we're really looking forward to let the Korean market know that Guam is the safest destination and we're ready to welcome you with open arms.
Jay, you want to add to that?
Jay,
Jay, you want to add to that and especially talk a little bit more about social media? I know that Korea is one of the most tech-savvy countries, obviously, and one of the most well-connected technologically. Talk a little bit more about the social media marketing campaigns.
Yeah, basically, we are monthly basis and weekly basis. We are implementing our SNS campaign in Korea to keep communicating our potential travelers. Also, we have certain amount of more than like 20,000 of Instagram followers we already have, which means, and then at the same time, we have about like 50% of Guam visitors was repeaters, which means we are keep communicating. We have the opportunity to communicating with them. So we are keeping communicating with them through our SNS channels. And then from Korea side, we have Naver, Kakao, Instagram, Facebook, and all those our own channels. We are keep feeding our most updated information to our potential travelers to Guam. So
yeah, and let me ask you guys. Go ahead. So, sorry.
No,
I want to ask you guys what is the basic message? What are you trying to get across? Why should the Korean tourists come to Guam?
Basically, after pandemic, Korea, not only for the Korean travelers, but globally, most important thing is the safety issue and hygiene issue, right? And then we have the great unique selling proposition we have in Guam in terms of the accessibility, hygiene issue, safety issue, etc. So those type of all the components is input into the one message, which is Guam again, begin again. So this slogan is very effectively communicating with our potential travelers. So we are emphasizing our unique selling proposition, as just mentioned, that like safety and hygiene issue.
Yeah. Colleen and Margaret, you want to add to that?
I'm trying to think. I mean, just to reiterate that safety is number one. And I think aside from incentives that we can give them, another big push is that majority of our residents are vaccinated. We have our WTTC certified businesses. And so just to keep reiterating that Guam is a safe place to travel, and that we, for R&R, for education, for MICE visits, it's the smart choice, especially right in this era.
In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises Inc. and IT&E. GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information. In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises Inc. and IT&E.
All right. Other than the emphasis on safety, has the pandemic, do you think, in your opinions, changed the tourism in general? Has it changed the way people think about traveling? What impact has the pandemic had on travel in general? Let me start with you, Jay.
Yeah, basically, the most popular travel destination from Korea side was the Southeast Asian countries. There's amazing places there to travel, right? And which means we have the big competitive destination competitors out there. And lots of people was traveling to Southeast Asian countries. But after pandemic, then most of potential travelers was focused on the safety, of course, hygiene and other travel component to compare other destinations. So in terms of that, from our point of view, that I feel like we can take some more market share from that Southeast Asian countries traveling market. So yeah, again, safety is one of the top priority consideration for the travelers. So we have the big potential. Also, for example, like another example is like education is the very fierce, that market is very fierce in Korea. And then people was thinking like education in Guam was like quite strange, wasn't it? So, but now they are thinking like studying English or studying abroad in Guam is quite emerging now. So yeah, so the reason for that, we participate in education fair last week, for example. So yeah, those type of, has been changing for the, potential travelers' mind, and then their, choice making decision has been changing after the pandemic. So I'm sorry to complicate.
No worries. Go ahead, Colleen.
The reason why we went for the education tourism is because we wanted to diversify our marketing in Korea. The student travel market is huge in Korea. A lot of these parents, they really invest a lot of money into their kids, and into learning English. And so a lot of these families have been sending their kids overseas to Europe, to Philippines, to Thailand to learn English, whereas we're only 4 hours away from Korea. And we're, a U.S. destination. We speak English, so why not attract more of that student travel to Guam and learn English here and actually have a U.S. American accent. And so, that's one of the reasons why we were really pushing for the education market. And there wasn't any knowledge of Guam and any of our institutions here where they can learn. So. It's been a really eye-opening experience that we had with this past event, and we're looking forward to promoting the market even more. But yeah, the education tourism is something that we're going to continue to nurture and grow.
All right. Let me just wind it up with this final question, and let me start with you guys over at the GVB offices. Is obviously the development with respect to quarantine is a good start. But when do you anticipate a full recovery? What's your best guess?
Well, maybe Jay is better off to say because he's in direct communications with the airlines, but I think we're thinking summer, right, Jay? Not completely, but
Not completely,
I mean,
but yeah.
New normal will look like. So
yeah, back in 2019, we had more than 1 million airlines capacity from Korea to Guam. It's incredible number, but as just mentioned that even though our quarantine was lifted, the market demand is not going to be rebounded right away. We need to secure our airlines capacity, which is our top priority, and they have to have the certain period of time to recover their airlines capacity to get approval from the Korean government, for example. So summer vacation season could be quite a big moment to rebound our Korean target market. And then after that, I think from the next like Lunar New Year period is going to be another moment to rebound our Korean target market. So we need to set up our own strategy to target like this summer vacation season and next Lunar New Year period, for example, like this. So yeah, I cannot guarantee when our airlines capacity and Korean market demand is rebounding, recovered, same as previous years. But we're going to do our own best to secure the certain amount of capacity and maximize our Korean market demand based on.
Okay, so Jay, you think maybe another year or so before we see a full rebound?
We'll see. Actually, as mentioned that almost every airlines are requesting to the Korean government, so the bit more predictable numbers can projected within next month, I think. So the more specific numbers can be shared later on. But yeah.
All right. Anything else you'd like to add over there in the GVB offices, Colleen and Margaret?
I think, for now, we're just going to keep trying to push our message out there and really get into Korea and start making the plans for things to normalize. Hopefully by summer, right, we start to see bigger numbers. But in the meantime, continue with our digital marketing, continue with our influencers coming in and spreading the word about Guam. I think that's most of what we can do in the meantime while we're waiting for other factors and for the airlines and other things to kind of fall into place.
All right, we're out of time. That's Margaret Santos and Colleen Cabeto of the GVB Marketing Office. And Jay Park is in Seoul, and he's the GVB Country Manager for Korea. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nestor.
I'm Nestor Licanto. Thanks for joining us for this edition of In Full Zoom. We'll see you again next week.
In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. and IT&E.